Happy Sunday, friends. It is the first Sunday of Advent, and we enter into this new Advent season, this new liturgical year, a new cycle of the lectionary. We'll be hearing now from Mark instead of Matthew, and it's a time of great opportunity. The church gives us Advent to prepare well. If you pay attention to the readings and to the prayers at Mass, you'll find that the preparation we're making is first and foremost not for the manger, that comes later in Advent, but actually for the Lord's second coming, his coming at the end of time. And so we hear this theme, we hear this theme from the gospel that really continues the theme of November of kind of attending to last things and the Lord's coming. Jesus said to his disciples, be watchful, be alert. So we're called to this wakefulness, this attentiveness. I think we can always direct that not only to the moment when the Lord will come in glory, but also to the ways that he moves in our daily lives. We can seek to be people who live in a way that we are receptive to the Lord speaking, the Lord acting, the Lord guiding, the Lord shaping us. I think we see something of that image of the Lord kind of desiring to shape and guide us, desiring that we would be alert and wakeful. Right at the end of our first reading from the prophet Isaiah, we'll be hearing from Isaiah during Advent for the most part here during these first readings on Sundays. So, having spoken about this holy desire for the Lord to move and to act, the prophet says, "Yet, O Lord, you are our Father. We are the clay, and you are the potter. For we are all the work of your hands." It's this image of clay being shaped by the potter who understands and knows what he's about, the potter who takes the lump of clay, useless in itself, but takes it and turns it into something useful and even something beautiful. The big difference between us and the clay, of course, is that we have a choice to make. The clay can't choose to cooperate or to defy the potter, but we, in God's plan, have freedom, this great gift he's given us, and we are free to choose whether to kind of cooperate, to avail ourselves of his guidance and help, to receive it, or to turn away. We can very easily, brothers and sisters, very easily have our hands gripped firmly on the steering wheel of our lives, and in effect say to the Lord, Lord, I've got this. Let me take care of it. And the Lord permits that because he loves us and gives us freedom, but he desires something better for us, that we would be alert and wakeful, attentive, that we would allow ourselves to be shaped as the clay is shaped by the potter's hands. One way we can be attentive to the Lord is to think about how he moves and how he reveals himself. Where and how would we expect the Lord to move or to speak? In the philosophical tradition, you hear sometimes of the transcendentals, the good, the true, and the beautiful, sometimes also added to them the one or unity. And we are, as human beings, oftentimes drawn towards one or the other of these kind of in a more direct way. So some people are very attentive to the good, to seeking a moral righteousness, maybe very attentive to failings in themselves and in others. Someone else might be very much drawn to the truth, right? To kind of the intellectual, the reasoning kind of analysis. What's true? What's the truth of things? They might be drawn to that in a scientific way, or in a philosophical way, or in a theological way. And we also can be drawn to the beautiful, to that which corresponds to this this sense of awe and wonder and joy that we experience in the presence of beauty. All of these can be avenues into God. God reveals himself in all of these ways through the good and the true and the beautiful. I'd just like to reflect a little bit on beauty, though, as a path of attentiveness to the Lord. This is a time, I think, when we're very much in need of hearing the Lord's voice, and I think beauty is one place where we can receive that. Let me do that just through a couple experiences I'd like to share. First of all, a student shared with me an experience recently of sitting along the lakeshore of Lake Superior in a beautiful place, and at that same time doing some reading and reading something beautiful and true about the Catholic faith in a book, and in the presence of both that natural beauty and that beauty of truth, just being moved to tears by the kind of the intensity and the beauty and the goodness of that. Um, we don't always have that experience, but I think perhaps many of us can relate to at one point or another in our lives, in the presence of beauty, just being kind of overcome by awe and wonder, and even being moved to tears. Not tears of sadness, but tears of joy at how beautiful something was. We can't manufacture that experience or try to cook that up. That would be disastrous. But we can ask the question of, am I available to beauty? Do I avail myself of it? Do I attend to it? Do I look for it? We live in such a beautiful place here in the Copper Country where natural beauty is all around us. How often do we go by a sunrise or a sunset or a snowflake or a leaf? How often do we go by something of true natural splendor and not acknowledge it, not really even pay it any attention? Um, in recent days, I went on a series of hikes with some students, and I was kind of reminded of this in a particular way. We went to three places. So I want to say one thing about each of the three places. First, we went to Point Abbey. That's the point there between Huron Bay and Keweenaw Bay. It's a place I've known about for many years. It's a place I almost got to on snowshoes a few years back, but never actually been there. And it's actually an easy place to get to, at least outside of snow season. You just drive there. I drove there in my Jetta. It didn't take a big four-wheel drive vehicle or anything complicated. It just took a little bit of time to drive there. And it's a beautiful spot. You're surrounded by Lake Superior. There's beautiful views in all directions. And I was just struck, like, I knew this place was here, but how did I not go here? How did I miss that opportunity? In my role as a pastor of a campus parish, like, why haven't I been taking students to that beautiful spot for years? So just sometimes we're aware of places of beauty, and we just get distracted. We get busy. We don't avail ourselves of them. After that, we went to the mouth of the Huron, and the mouth of the Huron, I would propose, has got to be one of the top, maybe 5 most beautiful places in the UP. You've got the islands offshore. You've got the river flowing into the lake, this beautiful beach. You've got the Huron Mountains off to the east. I've been there before. I spent some time working there and camping there maybe 15 years ago or more when I was doing forestry work. And having been there, knowing its beauty, having recommended it to people, I still let 15 years go by without going back and visiting that place. I think beauty can be present in our lives in places where we've tasted it before, and yet we lack the wisdom sometimes to go back and to avail of ourselves of it once again. Finally, kind of the most striking thing is on this trip. Went to a place I didn't even know existed until this trip, a place called Bald Mountain. It's the westernmost of the significant peaks in the Huron Mountains. It's a very beautiful place. Kind of stumbled upon it almost by accident. Again, not tremendously difficult to get to. It was only a hike of a mile or two off a logging road, and really gorgeous, really beautiful. I was kind of breathtaking. The views out over Huron and Keweenaw Bay, you could see the whole Keweenaw. You could see the peaks of the Huron Mountains kind of laid out at your feet. I'll certainly be going back there. But it was a place where God's beauty was there kind of lurking, and it just presented almost as a surprise, as a gift. Friends, these are just a few examples in my life of places of natural beauty, but I think there's an invitation here. Whatever way beauty strikes you, whether it's music or art or the natural world, whether it's the beauty of some of the people in your lives, their gifts, their talents, whatever way beauty strikes you, I encourage you to pay more attention during these coming days of Advent. Maybe it's a place you've been recommended and haven't had a chance to kind of attend to yet. Maybe it's a place of beauty that you've experienced before, but have let a lot of time slip by. And then we should be open to those places of beauty that we don't expect, that we don't see coming, and yet the Lord gives to us as a gift. Beauty can open our hearts up to God's goodness, to His power, and we need that gift during this Advent season. We need that gift during this difficult year that we're navigating. Just a final word. This homily is meant to prepare people at Mass to encounter the Eucharist. And in the Eucharist, we receive the most beautiful gift we can receive this side of eternity, the Lord Jesus Christ Himself, body, blood, soul, and divinity. He presents Himself to us in a hidden way, in a humble way, the host, the wine. They're not obviously beautiful. They're relatively humdrum, ordinary things. But the Lord transforms them into Himself, into His own power and presence, His body, blood, soul, and divinity. I encourage you to draw near the Eucharist. Do that spiritually, certainly. Make every effort to get to Mass if you can. There's good options all over the place, whether that's online, which is helpful, good, but not ideal. In person, if you can, at a local parish. We have a parking lot Mass here at St. Al's. There's good ways. You can find a Mass that's poorly attended if you have great concerns about health and safety. And with masking and hand sanitization and spaced out seating, really I think we have an opportunity to receive the Eucharist that is pretty safe for most people. I just encourage you, as you seek beauty, to long for the beauty of the Eucharist in whatever way it's possible. Be prudent, be prayerful, but don't let unnecessary obstacles keep you away from the Lord's body and blood. Know of my prayers for you, that this time of Advent may be a time truly of spiritual preparation, and please pray for me. God bless.